Yadevam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Anvitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namne Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Prabhupāda-līlāmṛta, Volume 2, Chapter 52, continuing. After a day has passed, Srila Prabhupada considered the travel proposal more seriously and mentioned some of its defects. He said that wherever he went, his physical condition would go with him. But here you have not been translating lately, said Tamal Krishna. Who says I shall never again translate? Prabhupada countered. Every action has some relaxation and then activity again. Prabhupada said that according to allopathic medicine, the only hope for him was to enter a hospital and undergo intensive medical treatment. According to Ayurvedic medicine, however, there were specific medicines. As Prabhupada sat on his balcony speaking with his secretary, he wore sunglasses. He would wear them even late in the day or in a darkened room. To his disciples, this was another source of worry that he appeared to be having problems seeing. Such things made the prospects of traveling to West seem doubtful. Why couldn't he just stay in Vrindavan? Some of the devotees reasoned, where everything was arranged for his convenience. The devotees had sent messages to three astrologers, and all the reports returned the same afternoon. Some of the reports offered obscure remedies without knowledge of Srila Prabhupada's position, but all of them agreed on one point. The next 2 months would be the most difficult of Prabhupada's life, and traveling should be avoided. One astrologer recommended Srila Prabhupada wear a blue sapphire. So it is not hopeless, Srila Prabhupada said after hearing all the reports. At least for the next 5 weeks, keep me very carefully. For the time being, no travel. Secure this blue sapphire and chant Hare Krishna. On the last day of July, the governor of Tamil Nadu, Shri Prabhu Das Patwari, who was visiting Vrindavan, paid a short visit to Srila Prabhupada. The governor could only stay half an hour, but Srila Prabhupada spoke energetically with him the entire time. When Srila Prabhupada explained his condition of health, the governor at once invited Srila Prabhupada to come to Madras and stay at Raj Bhavan, governor's mansion, where he said the best doctors in the world, in the whole South Asia, were available. But Prabhupada, rather than prolong the discussion about his body, used his bodily condition as an example to preach the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. After all, he said, so long we have got this body, then Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, birth, death, old age, and disease, we have to accept. This is the statement of Bhagavad Gita. So the human endeavor should be to stop this repetition of birth and death. When Vishwamitra Maharaj went to see King Dasharath, the king inquired, Punarjanma Jayaya, you are a great saintly person trying to conquer over birth and death. Is your process is going on nicely? Prabhupada then used the example of his bodily condition in a different way to illustrate the concept of Varnashrama Dharma. He compared the Brahmanas to the head and the Kshatriyas to the arms, the Vaishyas to the belly, and Shudras to the legs. If they are all in good condition, then the health is all right, said Prabhupada. Now, at the present moment, I am suffering because my belly development department is not working. So, we cannot neglect any department. There must be all departments and they must be cooperative and healthy. This movement is meant for that purpose. It is the duty of government to give us protection. Srila Prabhupada mentioned the devotees' recent difficulties in Mayapur and asked for protection. We'll do it, no doubt, Governor Patwari replied. I am meeting the Prime Minister tomorrow and we are going to discuss that matter. The governor acknowledged that the reports in the newspaper were distorted. He asserted that Madras had a good atmosphere for religious work and he mentioned several Swamis who were doing good work. Of one, he said, he is making good propaganda about Gita everywhere. There are many persons making propaganda, said Prabhupada frankly. But if we don't mind my saying so, All these men are in ignorance of what is the real meaning of Gita. Bhagavad Gita, he said, should be understood as it is and it should be adopted especially by the Rajarshis or government leaders. Again, the governor said how nice it would be if Prabhupada would come to Madras. Prabhupada seemed to consider it seriously and thanked the governor. Finally, Prabhupada requested help in getting the permanent residence in India for some of his disciples. They will never do any harm, he said. They will never take part in politics. I know it, said the governor. I know it. So kindly try to help, said Prabhupada. Later, when Prabhupada mentioned he was 50% decided to go to Madras, he and his servants began discussing the merits of travel to Madras and other places in the world, although he could not move even a few feet without assistance. If Krishna desired, he was willing to travel. July of 1977 was special for pious Hindus, and the people of Vrindavan spent extra time in reading scriptures and visiting holy places. So, by the end of July, when the trees and bushes were freshening with green leaves, pilgrims came in crowds to Vrindavan and to Krishna Balaram Mandir. Despite the mud and the rain, many of the people were in a jubilant mood, relieved from the oppressive heat and anticipating Jhulan Yatra, the swing festival of Radha Krishna. Jhulan Yatra was Vrindavan's biggest festival and would occur in the mid-August this year. The local newspapers were giving reports on Srila Prabhupada's health, and a genuine concern for his well-being prevailed throughout Vrindavan and surrounding villages. Therefore, because of the festive season as well as out of concern for Srila Prabhupada, many people were coming to Krishna Balaram Mandir. Those who came around 9 a.m. got to see Srila Prabhupada when he went for his morning darshan of the deities. Srila Prabhupada still had no appetite and had scarcely eaten during the past 6 weeks. He was no longer regular in his times for sleeping, taking massage, or sitting up and translating. Feeling himself to be at a critical period, he had given permission for devotees all over ISKCON to recite a simple prayer. My dear Lord Krishna, if you desire, please cure Srila Prabhupada. He would regularly go before the deities each morning, wearing his dark sunglasses and sitting erect in the rocking chair. He would hold his palms together in a gesture of prayer, while two men, on one in front and one behind, carefully carried the rocker from Prabhupada's room into the temple room. They would set the chair down first before the deities of Gaurnitai, then before Krishna Balaram, and then before Radha Shyam Sundar. Then they would carry him to a central spot in the courtyard under the Tamal Krishna tree and set his chair down on the black and white checkered marble floor. Srila Prabhupada would sit facing Krishna and Balaram, and the devotees would sit down around him and begin a kirtan. As the kirtan began, two Gurukul boys would rise and come in front of him, where they would begin dancing with arms upraised, their cotton chadars swinging back and forth. Prabhupada would usually not speak or even smile, but after a few minutes would give his garlands to a devotee who would place them around the necks of the dancers. Soon, two other young boys would come forward. The first boy would garland them with the garlands they had received from Srila Prabhupada and sit down. For half an hour, the dancing and singing continued. Guests to the temple would gather, many of them offering money at Prabhupada's feet, which rested on an embroidered silk cushion. Srila Prabhupada was gaining resolve to go to the West. One of the astrologers had said that by the 4th of September, after checking with a physician, Srila Prabhupada could undertake travel but for health only. I will go there to our Pennsylvania farm, said Srila Prabhupada, and he appeared hopeful. He didn't consider the astrologers absolute guides. He had consulted them more out of curiosity. Astrology was part of Vedic knowledge, but the modern day practitioners were often dubious. When Abhiram came from Delhi with a report from a new astrologer, Srila Prabhupada heard it while continuing to chant intently and silently on his beats. His main point, Srila Prabhupada, said Abhiram, was that for 6 months there is trouble, especially in the first week of September and then again on the certain days of October and November. The longevity is 82%, 82 years, 5 months, and 11 days, which means February 28, 1978. This is according to birth and stars arrangement, but he made it very clear that due to the hand of Krishna, this could be changed. And if you can pass through 1978, Then he sees 4 or 5 years ahead clear. When the report was finished, Srila Prabhupada was quiet for a few minutes and then said, by calculation, the age is finished. That doesn't matter. Rather, if I am finished now, it will be glorious. Living will also be glorious, said Tamal Krishna. Yes, Srila Prabhupada. Sorry, yes, said Srila Prabhupada. Let us see, let us see as Krishna desires. Only Other horoscopes also showed an inauspicious time ahead due to the entry of Saturn in the eighth house. Srila Prabhupada took this to indicate that his condition was most critical. In either case, whether according to the stars or according to Krishna, who could change destiny, everything was in Krishna's hand. But Srila Prabhupada was still inclined to tour the West. If I can work a little more, he said, our society will be very strong. I want to see that what I have done is made still stronger. Prabhupada's talk of travel, however, coincided with increasing weakness. He talked less. When Damalkrishna tried to encourage him to translate, he replied, when I get inspiration, I will take it up. Don't try to force me. I am going through a difficult time and I am now feeling restless. It is not mechanical. The Jhulan Yatra pilgrims were mostly villagers. Many were from Rajasthan, the men and women wearing brightly colored clothes, and the women wearing heavy gold and silver bangles, bracelets, which clanked as they walked barefoot on the roads. The number of mendicants, sadhus also increased, and they became a common sight with their ash or clay covered bodies marked with brightly colored tilak. The Yamuna had flooded in many places and was too swift for bathing or swimming. Thousands of villagers came to the Krishna Balram Mandir, which was now one of the most popular temples in all of North India. The evening aarti at Krishna Balram was so crowded that resident devotees couldn't attend, but could only stand in the back of courtyard at the edge of a packed, jostling crowd. Some of the Gurukul boys would greet the guests with Hindi back-to-court magazines, each boy selling 2 or 300 magazines at night a night. Srila Prabhupada was glad to hear this. A few of Srila Prabhupada's disciples from the West also arrived just to be with him, hoping to render some menial service. When Prabhupada received them in his dark, cool quarters, he was sitting up on his bed. One of the arrivals, Madhutrisha, had left Krishna consciousness for more than a year but now came before Prabhupada, shaven headed and wearing Vaishnav tilak. Don't leave us, said Prabhupada feelingly. You can stay as Grihastha, but don't leave us. To Sasvarupa, Prabhupada said, I like your magazine Back to Godhead, especially the article Srila Prabhupada speaks out. Shrutakirti, who had come from Hawaii, showed Prabhupada some candles they were producing and selling, and Prabhupada laughed. You Westerners, he said, there is no scarcity of money, but now I have taught you how to spend it. For more than half an hour, Prabhupada went on talking pleasantly. Later, Tamala Krishna told the devotees that Prabhupada's outlook seemed to change depending on the people around him and the news he received, and he told them of Prabhupada's plan to go to the West. Then evening, that evening, when Srila Prabhupada called for Tamala and the others, the devotees gathered and went up to Prabhupada's balcony, not knowing what to expect. Srila Prabhupada was lying on his bed. Sit down, he said. I want simply to see you all. It gives me vital force. Mercifully and lovingly, he looked upon his devotees as they sat around him. The air was filled with frankincense billowing from the pot of coals Upendra had prepared for keeping mosquitoes away. Evening Aarti began in the temple and the sounds of Kirtan rose to the little balcony. One by one, the men present began to massage Prabhupada. Shrutakirti and Swatswarupa were each massaging a leg, while Tamalakrishna massaged Prabhupada's head. Another devotee fan. Prabhupada lay back with his eyes closed peacefully. You all are Vaishnavas, he said. Be merciful to me. Srila Prabhupada frankly wanted to hear good news. It inspired him to continue. He didn't want to hear other news. His secretary would read him letters in the afternoon, and Prabhupada began allowing the other devotees to be present. Once, when they entered his room, he said, if in this world there is one Vaishnav, he can deliver all over the world. You are that one Vaishnava, Srila Prabhupada said. Srila Prabhupada said Satsvarupa. You become, said Srila Prabhupada. Each of you. Why not? We can try, said Guru Kripa Swami. Yes, try, said Srila Prabhupada, but follow, do not imitate. Today we have a letter about book distribution, said Tamal Krishna, the monthly report. That is real good news, said Prabhupada, and he listened with full attention as Tamal Krishna read the BBT newsletter. He was pleased and absorbed, sometimes shaking his head and smiling to hear the achievements of his disciples. Then he heard a long letter from Ganesham about his triumphant book distribution in Eastern Europe. When he heard a letter from Tulsi Das, who was developing a Krishna conscious farm community in South Africa, he commented, "This letter makes my chest swell that I have such disciples performing such activities." In another letter, a devotee wrote a prayer stating that all his God. Um, can you give me 1 minute, please? 1 second. Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Sorry, where I am now. I was practicing. Yeah, okay. In another letter, a devotee wrote a prayer stating that all his god brothers were praying for Prabhupada and he hoped that Krishna would respond. Surely, said Prabhupada, I am practically living on your prayers. I haven't eaten in the last 6 months, so I must be simply living on your prayers. And hearing a letter from South America, the devotees were praying for him. He said, I think I will have to stay. Krishna is very kind. He is Bhaktavatsala. So many devotees are praying, it cannot be frustrated. I think this I think this is why I am feeling inspiration to go out. In this condition, anyone else would prepare for death, but I am going on a tour. I don't think of it as sentiment. Krishna is actually present as Krishna consciousness movement. So I am not without Vrindavan wherever I go to our temple. I am not without Vrindavan wherever I go to our temples. Panchadravida Swami wrote that he would exchange his youth for Srila Prabhupada's old age. We are the same age, said Srila Prabhupada. The body has nothing to do with the Atma. In the Vaikuntha world, we are the same age. New life, new boys, Navayavana. The outward dress doesn't affect one. As a further reply to Panchadravida, Prabhupada dictated, May Krishna give you long life and preach Krishna consciousness. You are our future hope. For the devotees who had not been with Prabhupada in months, it was like old times sitting with him and hearing him answer letters and give advice for becoming victorious in Krishna consciousness. Hearing him discourse made everything all right, but as they were leaving his room, he said softly, These are my last days. When Tamal Krishna got an especially dynamic report from Hamsaduta Swami in Sri Lanka, he decided to bring it to Srila Prabhupada early in the morning. Prabhupada had just finished his bath and was sitting upstairs on the balcony just before his 9:30 darshan in the temple. He wore a tulsi garland from Krishna Balaram as well as fresh flower garland. He reclined on a round bolster pillow and listened. Hamsaduta's letters contained news of a debate he was having with a famous atheist in Colombo, Dr. Kaur. As soon as Tamal Krishna began to read the news, however, Prabhupada asked to hear Dr. Kaur's response. Tamal Krishna then began reading from a news clipping enclosed in the letter. Das and Swami asked whether scientists can make a chicken to go out of a plastic egg. Tamal Krishna read, I do not know whether they are aware that scientists have made over 10 elements such as fermium, plutonium, Einsteinium. Prabhupada interrupted, Rascal, you are simply producing empty sound. Where is the chicken, Rascal? The chicken, the hen is better than the scientist. She has produced another egg within a week. You simply say this and that, you simply said this and that, this and that, this and that, that's all. What is your value? We don't give you any value. You are less important than chicken. Tamal Krishna resumed reading. We have created over 10 elements that even God, again Prabhupada interrupted. Who cares of your creation? Without your creation, the egg is there. No, he says. Tamal Krishna went back to reading the text. Even God could not create them because he did not know the technology involved in making them. God kicks on your mouth, said Prabhupada. He doesn't require to take your creation. Without your creation, he can do everything. God kicks on your mouth with shoes. Talkative nonsense. Tell him like that. I am sure Hamsaduta did, said Tamal Krishna. Next, we'll read his reply. Anyway, the scientist goes on. Are these two men aware of the success of Sri Lanka's scientist, Doctor? Who cares, Prabhupada? Who cares of this scientist? The Nobel Prize winner in synthesizing amino acids. Nobel Prize winner, scoffed Srila Prabhupada. Another rascal has given him a Nobel Prize. He is a rascal. Another rascal has given Suri Sakshi Matala. In a liquor house, the witness is a drunkard. If there is an incident within the liquor shop and the proprietor of the liquor shop has brought some witnesses, but all of them are drunkards, what is the value of that? As soon as you are drunkard, immediately you are rejected. Tamal Krishna read on, and Prabhupada continued to interrupt him at almost every sentence. The devotees had not seen Prabhupada so fiery in weeks. When Tamal Krishna read Hamsaduta's reply, Prabhupada was pleased to see how many of same points his disciples had made. He is putting very strong arguments, said Prabhupada. This is preaching. Two factors were making Srila Prabhupada indecisive about going west. One was the worldly formalities of passport and US residency card, and the other was Srila Prabhupada's personal hesitancy based on reports from the astrologer. His health was, of course, the main factor, but at times he seemed ready to disregard everything and order his servants to somehow take him to London. Already he had sent Abhiram to Calcutta to deal with certain complications. His US residency, green card had expired, and the consulate in Delhi had insisted that he come for an interview. Meanwhile, Prabhupada's passport and a temporary visa were being readied and would take 4 or 5 days. One of the Ayurvedic doctors who sometimes visited told Prabhupada he should wait a week or so. But Prabhupada found simply working up the will for travel and then not going and then deciding again to go was exhausting. On hearing the latest news that the US consulate insisted on an interview, which seemed to be a physical impossibility, he couldn't rest. Lying on his bed for hours, he finally called Tamal Krishna and said, I want to go. Can you arrange to carry me? Somehow or other, take me. Here, I don't expect any good. Psychological enthusiasm is there. Don't be afraid. I am not afraid. Either to die in the temple here or there. It is all Vaikuntha. Tamal Krishna asked the first asked to first discuss this with a few of GBC men who were present, but when the devotees came into Prabhupada's room that afternoon, Prabhupada said, "No discussions. I have made up my mind. Arrange immediately for going." But again, there were complications. The doctor asked Srila Prabhupada to wait another week, and Prabhupada also did not want to leave India without his green card for the US. He sent Balavanta to Calcutta to try and get the green card. With so many matters unsettled, Prabhupada remained undecided whether to go to England now or wait. "I plan to stay in America," Srila Prabhupada said. "I will not come back until I complete the Bhagavatam. I want to organize there. The American boys are so nice. If I make everything strong, then the movement will endure. Let us go now. The doctor will say 4 days for the medicines to act, then wait a little longer. This is their method." Finally, a report came from Abhiram in Calcutta that passport had been secured and American consulate in Calcutta would help in getting the green card. Tamal Krishna ran upstairs and told Srila Prabhupada, "This is very good news." Srila Prabhupada was lying down in the bed, but when he heard the news, he began to slowly clap his hands, saying, "Give me good news and keep me alive." He began to think ahead to London. "The Radha Krishna deities, they are so nice," he said. "Radha Landaneshwar, an innocent boy, he is." Tamal Krishna reminded Srila Prabhupada how they had obtained those deities. "Yes," said Prabhupada, "it was unexpected. I was in a hopeless condition, but Krishna said, 'Here I am, take me.'" Srila Prabhupada thought of Bhaktivedanta Manor. That lawn before my room is magnificent," he said. "I think good time is coming. Madhutvisha has come and Gaurasundara has come, lost child has come. These are good signs." As he spoke on, his voice, which was sounded at first small and weak, grew in strength. "Mistake there may be," he said, referring to the fall of some of his disciples, "but it can be rectified. At the time, be careful not to commit mistakes. Krishna never forgets a person who does a little service." "You also never forget," Prabhupada said. Tamal Krishna. "How can I forget? You have all helped me to execute the mission of Lord Chaitanya and my Guru Maharaj. I always pray to Krishna to give you strength. I am insignificant. I cannot do anything, but I pray to Krishna to give you strength." Prabhupada recalled how after installing the deities in Australia, he had thought, "These mlechas and yavanas, what will they do with the deities?" Then the next time he went there, he saw that they were worshipping nicely. "Try to do everything nicely," he said, "and Krishna will help. Whatever I have done has been done on his principle. Whatever my Guru Maharaj taught me, I tried to the best of my capacity to carry out." Srila Prabhupada spoke on, carried by waves of transcendental emotion and carrying his loving disciples with him. "When I go to America," he said, "especially Los Angeles and New York, I feel at home." At the mention of New York, he began to remember his first days there. "I was like a street boy," he said. "I am going here and there sightseeing. I was in New York City, but one morning I saw all the walls were white. How have they become white? Who has whitewashed them?" I went downstairs and there was so much snow. I went with an umbrella and purchased a pack of milk in the snow. At that time, I was living in a dungeon. It was always dark, but I didn't care. Whatever difficulty, I didn't care. I only wanted to preach. Sometimes people would touch me like men on the Barbary, but no one was inimical. Everyone was friendly, even the bums. When I went to enter my New York building, the bums would get up from where they were lying down and let me pass by. I couldn't understand the difference between friends and enemies. Prabhupada said a friend of his had been shocked to hear that he was moving to Bavaria. "Oh, Swamiji," his friend had said, "you have gone to Bavaria Street. It is a horrible place." "I passed through many dangers," continued Prabhupada. "Yes, I couldn't understand that. Here is a danger. Everywhere I thought, this is my home." Srila Prabhupada recalled random details of his first preaching endeavors at 26th Second Avenue. "I was working very hard," he said, "lecturing at 7 in the morning and 7 in the evening, cooking and distributing prasadam to anyone who was coming. Do you remember, Satsvarupa? You would bring some mango and fruit. Daily you would come. Those days are past. Now I feel happiness remembering those days. Remember that boy, uh, Sh- Sh- Sri Striyadhisha, Striyadhisha. Sriyadisha, he would eat so many chapatis. He would never enough have he would never have enough. Every time he wanted more, I would give him 4 chapatis at a time. Kirtanananda, Achyutananda, 75 people would attend that Sunday feast. Prabhupada recalled the first San Francisco temple, the first Los Angeles temple, going to Seattle, pushing Gaur to Hawaii, to go to Hawaii, receiving a letter from Govinda Dasi in Hawaii, who said that it was mango season, except that when Prabhupada went there, it was rat season, and all night the rats were running in the rafters. This is a new life, this Krishna consciousness, said Srila Prabhupada. There is no doubt about it. His thoughts returned to his upcoming tour, and he said he could sleep in 3 seats across in the airplane. But he cautioned the devotees to be careful that once he got to America, he not get kidnapped. Previously, he was considered that Krishna may have been detaining him from going to the west so that he would not be disturbed by the demons. But now he would go in any case. Prabhupada was ready to leave, but the delays and anxieties persisted. Balwanta returned from Calcutta, but Srila Prabhupada was not pleased to see him. Why, he demanded, had he come back without Abhiram? Balwanta said he had wanted to be with Srila Prabhupada and he thought that Abhiram could handle the last steps of getting the green card. Prabhupada reprimanded Balwant, saying service to the Guru was better than being with him. Then Tamal Krishna left for Delhi to arrange for the tickets. When the 2 days, when 2 days later, Srila Prabhupada learned that there might be a delay of several days before Tamal Krishna and other Americans in the party could leave India, he said he could immediately leave without them, taking Shrutikirti as his servant. Then Prabhupada heard of an airport strike in London, and the night before his scheduled departure, his health worsened. Many devotees urged him not to go, but amazingly, the ticket and passport arrived at the midnight on August 28, after a 6 month stay in Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada and his party left from the front gate of Krishna Balaram Mandir and headed for Delhi in a caravan of cars. Just as Prabhupada was leaving, Bisan Chandra Seth, a friend of Prabhupada's in Vrindavan, had come and protested. It will not be good if something happens and you leave your body outside of Vrindavan. Prabhupada told Mr. Seth that because his disciples were so much in love with him, he could not easily refuse their request. If the trip became too difficult, he said he would return immediately. He told Mr. Seth that he was simply depending on Krishna. Prabhupada rode lying on a mattress in the back seat of his car, and after 2 hours of driving over roads greatly damaged by flooding, they reached Delhi airport. Srila Prabhupada waited in the car. The early morning was warm, and the devotees opened the car doors. Bhavananda Goswami, who had just been released from jail in Bengal, had um, arrived in time to see Srila Prabhupada. Bhavananda approached the car and placed his head on Prabhupada's feet. How are you? Prabhupada asked. Bhavananda reported that everything was improving in Mayapur. All the local sadhus and citizens were now siding with ISKCON against the hoodlums who had attacked the temple. Srila Prabhupada was moved to an airport waiting room prior to going through the customs formalities. About 10 devotees were there to see him off as he left with his party of 4. Tamal Krishna, Upendra, Pradyumna, and Pradyumna's wife Arundhati. Srila Prabhupada sat upright on the airport coach, silently fingering the beads in his bead bag. His bare feet, resting in his sandals, were slightly swollen, as were his hands. He looked to see who was present and slightly nodded to each disciple in recognition. The devotees felt there was no need for Srila Prabhupada to talk. Just being with him was wonderful and fully satisfying. He had already spoken to them fully and had given himself in his books in many other ways. So they chanted and looked lovingly at him up until the last moment when he went by wheelchair onto the plane. The Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So finally, we could finish this wonderful chapter.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. It was very nice. We see that Prabhupada was completely dependent on Krishna's desire, whatever he wants. he was reading.
Yeah. Hmm.
And Prabhuji, what was that one point I did not understand, that he said that Krishna has detained him from going to West?
Huh?
I heard that Krishna detained Prabhupada from going to West so that he does not disturb from the demons in West.
Acha, so you're referring to
Was it like from the beginning
kidnap,
days when he went first time? Or?
right? So
Yes, yeah.
he cautioned the devotees to be careful. Previously, he had considered that Krishna may have been detaining him from going to the west so that he would not be disturbed by the demons. We know, right, how there was attack. Someone wanted to push Prabhupada from the top floor. You remember?
I mean, I remember that somebody stole his things, but
There is
I
this
don't
Shaitan act. Someone uh, was envious of Prabhupada's position. Then they wanted to throw, but after they saw effulgent light. So there is something like this. And there is also like he's seeing that the reason till now he could not go to the west is because it is Krishna doesn't want to put his devotee in trouble.
even in the beginning days that he could not go, he had to.
Yeah. And of course, right, there is also this, what is that going on? The case in the US, brainwash, brainwashing case. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So there is so much resistance. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. So in which chapter it comes that somebody was trying to push Prabhupada from the top floor in America? It was the beginning days, or?
Yeah, it was in the after after Prabhupada had to, I mean, they had moved, right? He was living with I don't
With one.
remember the name. Haigreve, or no, not Haigreve. He was living with the one who was having drugs, was taking drugs. Prabhupada
Yes,
was living
yes,
in the same room.
yes, Prabhuji. Then he died, na, because of
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
After that, okay. And I think that by that time he did not have any disciple.
No, yeah, he was setting up everything.
Yes, I think.
After that, actually, everything happened.
Hmm. Okay, Prabhuji.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. Any other interesting, nice things?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So I think, I think the last few sessions has always been, even the grimmest of the situations, seeing Krishna and the mood to serve. Like as
Mhm.
you also told me that Kadamagana Maharaj came in a dream and say, keep serving. So I think that comes from the lineage, Prabhuji. So very
Parampara.
inspiring.
Evam parampara praptam. Hmm. Yeah, what I'm, I think we should read this not just only, I mean, on like one time. Yeah. I find that now we are reading once, that is nice, but this should actually continue go until we, yeah, are coming to the age or whatever the condition of Prabhupada, because these, at least I forget quite soon. So in order not to miss this, such a wonderful instructions in a, in a story. Yeah. So if Prabhupada would say these things are the instructions, last 10 instructions, last 50 instructions, etc., we may not understand on what circumstances these instructions came. So reading Prabhupada-līlāmṛta is like a journey with Prabhupada, where we are living with him through this. And Prabhupada is instructing to us. So wherever, at what age we are, we would be picking up those if we constantly have this as part of our life. That's what I see. That means for all ages and times, being reading Prabhupada-līlāmṛta uh, should help to can fill inspiration. Yeah. there is nothing like a hopeless situation, hopeless condition. And there's also like what to prioritize, what not. Yeah, Prabhupada is saying, okay, on one side he's asking astrologers just to out of curiosity, but when it comes to real thing, he would not pay it 100%. Rely on your, only if it is encouraging, that will only add uh, one more supporting statement. But if it is not encouraging, then he would just ignore it, because his spirit of preaching is more not restricted to this. I remember, I don't know, Adresa Prabhu and Rupa, you may have heard this doctor disciple of Kadam Kanan Maharaj. What is her name?
South Africa.
Jayalalitha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jayalalitha Mataji, she is a doctor, and not only doctor, I think she is head of some department
Yeah.
in South Africa. And she was telling about Maharaj. Um, I think when Maharaj first again had the symptoms of cancer, when he got checked, so he first, and the doctor is going to tell him what to do, and Maharaj would say yeah, but actually she said that he would really not be seriously taking. He just asks very straight, and okay. um, when he understood, yeah, he was just keen to use the time that he has to engage in service of the Lord. Mm, yeah. So yeah, I think, as I said, so for every age and time, yeah, this reading can reveal inspiration accordingly. For now, we can see, at least when we read now, we can seek the inspiration of how to um, yeah, fight against atheism. Yeah, you saw that Prabhupada was, yeah, I think um, was not at all leaving any chance for that scientist from Colombo, right? Prabhupada was what was his name? Kapoor. I think maybe Kapoor. I think Kapoor. So he and Prabhupada was yeah. So one can also become like that. So that if one becomes a book distributor, he gets this opportunity of blasting atheism in his surroundings, in his capacity. And if one is not so strong, not such daring, uh, one can just look for services where they can engage in preaching in the temple, yeah, within home and outside home, so something like that. But the spirit of preaching is what is actually what Krishna likes, because we become the agents, representatives of Krishna. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, just so nice to hear. We can become the representatives of Krishna. Huh?
totally. A big, yes, Prabhuji. It's a big blessing, Prabhuji, totally.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Others a problem?
No, Prabhuji, no. Thank you.
So tomorrow let's use. I think we'll see some multi-kulti.
Tomorrow is normal lecture, na? Normal continuation.
What continues? No, I'm saying about